Look, at the end of the day, am I probably going to buy these? Yeah, 100%. Hey, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Adrian here for Digital Dojos, and today we're talking Sonos Ace, the latest announcement and release in the line of Sonos products known for their hi-fi wireless audio experience. They enter the wireless headphone market. And this is not, if you're clicking on this, a hands-on impression. I didn't get to go to the presser. I didn't get an early product revision. These were just announced and they're available for pre-order. They don't even officially go out till early next month, which I'll be hoping to get my hands on for review and buy myself. But this is just my impressions of the product overall from its initial release and my initial thoughts of it. Again, not from the physical hands-on experience. So please feel free to go elsewhere if you're looking directly for that. Look, I am a big proponent and fan of the Sonos ecosystem. I've invested heavily into the ecosystem. I have 20 plus Sonos speakers, so I can speak to the overall experience of their products and the trials and tribulations I've had with them because I've purchased them all. None of them have been sent for review or what have you. But Sonos, I'm still waiting. We can still work on that, so feel free to reach out. I'll sign the embargo. But let's start by addressing what are these Sonos Aces first and foremost. They are Sonos's wireless headphones that are coming in this premium market at $450. They are coming in at a market that is usually dominated by the brands like Bose, Sony in their XM series or Bose's QC series, or now even Apple with their products like the AirPod Maxes. So these enter a pretty costly $400 and up market that's providing this high quality, high fidelity audio that has features like active noise cancellation, spatial audio, lossless audio support, Dolby Atmos support, so you can pair these up with movies and get that full kind of experience. Aware mode, or transparency mode as it's often referred to. 30-hour all-day battery life, which is really great to see in a pair like this. Dynamic head tracking to kind of go in with that spatial audio, so it knows where your center is and whatnot, and which way you're facing. USB-C functionality for charging, which is always nice. 3.5 millimeter jack for wired compatibility. Wear detection, so it knows when you have them on or off. Bluetooth, because even though Sonos has kind of really pushed back against Bluetooth in the past since they're usually over Wi-Fi, they've recently caved with a lot of their travel products like the Move and the Roam. And obviously with a product like this, you have to have Bluetooth so it can work across ecosystems like both Apple and Android. They're sleek, designed, very clean looking headphones just from the initial get-go. I will say they're very Apple-esque headphones, and you can't look at these and not think a little bit about the AirPods Maxes because they have very similar aesthetics in that aspect. But Sonos has always designed great products in their own right. They've always been known to kind of have that Apple-like aesthetic, and I think they've even improved in certain areas here over things like the AirPod Maxes, whether it's the different colored ear cups so you always know which one's left and which one's right. And even though they're also magnetic, they have the capability to only connect one way, so you can't accidentally pair the wrong ear cup to each other. These compact what they call the content key, which allows you to adjust volume and playback through a physical button rather than like a touch sensor or what have you. And then they have built-in microphones, I believe up to 8, and a 40 millimeter driver packed in here from the kind of technical audio details. So the tech specs here, 40 millimeter custom drivers, 8 microphones. All of this plays in to provide that premium-like audio experience. I can't tell you what the mids, the highs, the lows are like. I haven't got to test them. I've seen and I've heard from those who have decent audio quality. And again, audio and sound can be subjective, right, at the end of the day. And that's what you should be getting out of a $450 headphone. So in a basic aspect, decent audio from the just pure sound profile, decent battery life, 30 plus hours, support for a lot of features like lossless, spatial, and Dolby, and an overall decent, or if not great, design in certain aspects. Again, some of that stuff will have to be clarified when we get our hands on the product. It checks a lot of the boxes that a headphone at this price point should. But the thing is, it checks a lot of the boxes all the other ones also do. Look, at my kind of audio journey, if I look at my arsenal, these are my daily drivers. These are the Apple AirPods Pro. These are what I use every day. I never leave the apartment without these. I've used AirPods in general for ever since they were released, but I've relied on the AirPods Pro as my daily drivers. I'm in the Apple or iOS ecosystem, so they pair well and they just always work effectively with the AirPods Pro. Surprise, surprise. When I wanted to invest in over-the-ear headphones a couple years ago for just general use, times I'm at the gym or if I'm traveling or even in the office, I got the Sony XM3s and XM4s, and I was a big fan of their active noise cancellation and their overall comfort. And these just do a better job as over-the-ears in terms of overall noise cancellation, especially on flights. Until I upgraded to the Apple AirPods Maxes, which have since then been the kind of de facto king or standard for me for noise cancellation in transparency mode. And again, integrating well with the ecosystem that I rely on heavily as my daily driver. So these got replaced by my AirPod Maxes, which now kind of live at my office. Now for extended travel where I need audio beyond headphones, I've relied on my Sonos Roam as my kind of a la Bluetooth speaker. So that's a look at like kind of my current audio setup. AirPods Pro, AirPods Max, Sonos Roam. The kind of three choices I have when I'm traveling or out and about. I was hoping these Sonos Aces would fall somewhere in that line, but truthfully, even at their price point, and I'm sure they'll do some or certain things better or worse than the Apple AirPod Maxes, they don't do enough to separate it or provide what I would call that Sonos-like experience. The whole appeal behind the Sonos experience and the ecosystem is that you can do and easily sling audio amidst multi-room through the app. You can easily play music in one room, play another song in another. You can play it all over the house. Like that's the whole appeal as you buy more and more of their products and speakers. You can really kind of have your home theater audio set up and your gaming set up, and then you can have just a speaker for listening to music in the den or the porch, and you have these portable speakers like the Roam, which at release had a feature where you would be able to walk in, let's say you're listening to music on this, hold the play or pause button, and then sling audio to the nearest compatible Sonos speaker, of which it supported a lot at its initial launch. The only feature the Sonos Ace currently has in terms of its Sonos-like functionality or that separates it is the ability to sling audio from the Sonos Arc, their most expensive soundbar in the lineup. So if you have an Arc, the idea is that you're listening to a movie, it's late at night, maybe somebody in the house is sleeping, you don't want to disturb them, but you don't want to necessarily turn down the soundbar. You can put on your Sonos Aces and the audio will sling from the Arc to your headphones. And that's the appeal or the feature or the handoff feature that it does all kind of seamlessly. Again, that's great, but that's the only product it pairs with. At launch, it does not work, I believe, with the Ray or the Beam. Is that something that they might pair or fix in the future via over-the-air updates? I'm sure they may, and I'm sure they will. I would hope that they would. But at launch, with that being the only feature, what they call TV audio swap, that's just something that I feel like is not going to be, enough. Now, I'm looking at the website now. I did click on the Learn More section here. Arc and Arc SL, it does support, and it looks like they will be eventually coming to the Beams and Rays, so the other soundbars in the Sonos ecosystem. So that's great. That's like a step forward. I feel stuff like this should have been just incorporated at launch, so it has a kind of wider subset, because right now you're essentially saying like you have to have a top of the line soundbar for this to be a thing to do the TV swap. I still think what's a bummer here is like it doesn't support things like the Sonos Ones or the Play 5s or any of the other kind of mid-range to higher end speakers that would be great to have that too, because that's what the whole appeal of a Sonos Ace or Sonos headphone in general was to me. The idea that I can walk in like I do now from my walk home from the office, take off my AirPods Pros, and in this case, my imaginary Aces, and being able to continue that audio experience, whether I'm listening to a song or a book or whatever, on my Sonos speakers, it would be the great kind of like integration. Or the opposite, I'm leaving the apartment, I'm leaving the house in the morning for my walk and commute in the morning, and whatever I'm listening to as I get ready for the day seamlessly transfers over to my headphones. Because again, the Sonos app works and relies on your services that you tie into the app. So in theory, it should be easy if I'm taking my phone with me, which you are if you're going to have the Sonos Aces, to then sling over that audio. That's like the missed boat in my opinion. Is that a feature I'm sure they thought about? Is that a feature that may come out in the future? Yes, but not having that at launch kind of misses the boat in my opinion. A lot of people online were kind of upset that you can't treat the Sonos as its own zone, which I think traditionally is why people think that that feature I'm talking about, the ability to sling audio to different rooms or speakers, is traditionally handled through zones. But it's been kind of confirmed that the Sonos Ace is not going to be its own zone. It's not going to be treated as a zone in the Sonos app. but it clearly doesn't need that in order to sling audio from the ARC to your headphones. So in my thought process here, that it could have been similar to the Roam, where you hold a button down and then it tells it to kind of connect to the next closest speaker or tie into that ecosystem. And again, I just think that was a misboat. Now, the problem is you don't do this at launch. It kind of diminishes the appeal of why you would want to get this. I try to think of like the average end user or customer out there right now who's already in the Sonos ecosystem. I don't think you buy a pair of Sonos Aces if you're not already in some aspects in the Sonos ecosystem. It doesn't necessarily make sense if you've never bought a Sonos product before. I think like the Play One in that aspect is always a great entry level speaker if you've never bought anything Sonos. The Ace is going to be for somebody who already has Sonos products in some shape or form, and they want to be able to integrate it into their ecosystem, because otherwise, why would you not go with a Bose or a Sony or an Apple AirPods Max? Because that's traditionally what's always been dominating in the headphone market, because Sonos never offered anything in the headphone market. So I think it was an opportunity for Sonos to really come into this market and offer something that much more different. And that's something that tied so heavily into their ecosystem and integration in a way that Sonos is known for. And my fear is by not doing it at launch or doing it in the Gen 1 of this product, that we don't see a Gen 2 of this product, because it doesn't sell enough. It doesn't get enough people excited or raise enough, just pure profits as a business for it to be a viable product. And that is my fear when it comes to something like the Sonos Ace out of the box. Right now, you buy it, I guess, if you are in the Sonos ecosystem, and that whole appeal of just slinging the ARC audio to your headphones is something that you really like, and you want a good quality pair of headphones that you don't already have. Like, you don't have a Bose QC or a Sony XM, or you don't have an AirPods Max, and you want a good pair of over-the-ear headphones, and you're already in the Sonos ecosystem. Like, that is probably the most appealing in my aspect, as like the ideal customer. And yeah, that's the only scenario I can really think of. And look, I've justified buying many Sonos speakers. Like I said, I've bought the IKEA line. I've bought multiple Play 5s. I have super overkill, soundbar setups in my living room, my game lounge, my bedroom. I have Sonoses in every bathroom, in the guest bathrooms. This is just one of those products that, while I will get it for the perspective of reviewing and hopefully the future potential of what the product could be in the future, I do think Sonos kind of missed the boat a little bit on the launch of the Ace. I hope I'm wrong. I hope to be proven wrong, and I hope that Sonos does turn it around. I know right now it's released at a very controversial time in the Sonos community because of the recent app update, but even setting aside that drama, I was hoping the Sonos Ace would be much more. But we'll see come release. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.